Daewon stared at the screen until his eyes burned. The numbers made no sense. Stars didn't just dim like this. Not naturally. Not all at once. Captain Haewon needs to see this, he muttered, running his hands through his hair. Around him, the research lab hummed with the quiet sounds of deep space. The eternal prospect had been his home for 3 years now, far from Earth's dying sun, far from everything humanity once called home. He pressed the comm button. "Captain, we have a problem." Haewon arrived within minutes, her uniform crisp despite the late hour. She had that look in her eyes, the one that said she already knew bad news was coming. "Show me." Daewon pulled up the star charts. Red dots scattered across the Pegasus sector like drops of blood. 47 stars. All dimming. All in the same pattern. "Equipment malfunction?" Haewon asked, but her tone said she knew better. "I wish." Daewon zoomed in on one star. "Look at the energy signature. Something is draining them." The door slid open and Tae Yang burst in, young and breathless. The engineer had probably been awake for 30 hours straight again. "I ran the calculations 3 times. This isn't random. Something is doing this on purpose." Haewon's jaw tightened. "The elder races need to know." Daewon almost laughed. The elder races. Beings who had existed for millions of years while humanity was still crawling out of caves. They treated humans like children playing with toys they didn't understand. "They won't listen." "They have to," Haewon said. But they didn't listen. The Galactic Council meeting happened 3 days later via quantum link. Daewon presented his findings to beings that looked like living crystals, clouds of gas, and things his mind couldn't quite process. He showed them the data, the patterns, the dying stars. The response came from something that called itself a thought ancient. Its voice sounded like mountains grinding together. "Young species see patterns where none exist. Your instruments are crude, your understanding limited. But the evidence," Daewon started, "you have existed for mere thousands of years. We have watched stars be born and die for eons. This is natural stellar evolution, nothing more." The connection cut off. Haewon slammed her fist on the table. "Arrogant bastards." "Captain," Nari spoke up from the corner. The xenolinguist had been quiet during the meeting, studying the elder race's responses. "They're hiding something. Did you notice how the thought ancient's color shifted when you mentioned the energy signatures?" "What does that mean?" "In their species, that color means fear." Tae Yang looked up from his datapad. "I'm getting reports from other human colonies. They're seeing the same thing. Stars dimming in their sectors, too." Daewon felt ice in his stomach. "How many?" 200 stars now, and growing." Haewon stood straighter, switching into command mode. "We need to investigate this ourselves. Tai Yong, plot a course to the nearest affected star. Nari, keep monitoring all channels. Daewon, I need you to find out what's causing this." The eternal prospect arrived at the dying star 4 days later. It had been a yellow star like Earth's sun once was. Now it glowed dull orange like embers fading. "Scanning," Daewon said, fingers flying over his console. "Energy levels are down 60%, but there's something else. Massive structures in orbit. They're almost invisible." On the view screen, shapes appeared as the sensors adjusted. Enormous constructs surrounded the star, each one larger than Earth's moon. They pulsed with stolen light. "What are those?" Haewon whispered. Tai Yang's voice shook. "I think they're harvesting the star, draining it." "But who built them? Why?" Nari pulled up ancient texts on her screen, scrolling through databases humanity had bought from traitor species. "There are legends. Old stories the elder races don't like to talk about beings that came before, things that feed on stars." "Legends," Haewon said. "Great." "Maybe not just legends," Daewon said. He had found something in the data. Code. Mathematical sequences embedded in the structure's energy output. He ran it through every decryption program they had. 3 hours later, the message decoded. "It's a warning. Daewon said quietly. From whoever built these things. It says, "We are the harvesters. We consume to exist. We existed before your universe cooled. We will exist after it ends. Resistance is futile. Surrender is survival." The bridge fell silent. Taeyang broke it. How long until they reach human colonies? Daewon checked the pattern. The harvesters were moving in a spiral toward younger stars. Stars like the ones humans had settled around after Earth's sun started dying. 2 years, maybe 3. "We need to warn everyone," Haewon said. "Every human colony, every ship." "And the elder races?" Nari asked. Haewon's expression hardened. "Send them the data, all of it. Let's see them dismiss this." They sent everything. Video of the structures, energy readings, the decoded message. Daewon made sure every detail was perfect, undeniable. The response came 6 hours later. Not from the Galactic Council, from a single elder race called the Eternal Choir. Their message was brief. "We know about the harvesters. We have always known. Stop your investigation. This does not concern young species." Daewon read it twice. "They know. They've always known." Taeyang looked sick. "Why didn't they warn us?" Nari's fingers moved across her console, pulling up trade routes, historical data, patterns of elder race expansion. Her face went pale. "Because they made a deal. Look at this. Every star the harvesters have consumed in the last 1,000 years, they're all young stars. Stars in regions where new species might develop, the elder race's stars, the ancient ones in the galactic core, untouched. They're feeding us to these things," Haewon said, her voice deadly quiet. "Sacrificing younger species to save themselves." Daewon felt rage building in his chest. Humanity had looked up to the elder races, learned from them, respected them. And all along, they had been marked for slaughter. "What do we do?" Taeyang asked. Haewon straightened her uniform. "We do what humans have always done. We survive. We fight. We find a way." She looked at each of them. "The elder races think we're children? Fine. Let's show them what children can do when their backs are against the wall." Daewon pulled up star charts showing every human colony. Thousands of lights across the darkness. Billions of lives. "We need to understand these harvesters, how they think, how they work. There has to be a weakness." "And if there isn't?" Nari asked. Taeyang smiled, and there was something fierce in it. "Then we'll make one. Humans are good at that." Haewon activated the ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is the captain. Set course for human space. We're going home. We have work to do." The Eternal Prospect turned away from the dying star and its massive harvesters. Behind them, the star dimmed a little more. Ahead, the galaxy waited. And somewhere in the darkness, the harvesters moved closer. Admiral Wan Shik had seen war before. Real war, not the small skirmishes humans sometimes had with pirates or rogue colonies. He had commanded fleets against hostile species trying to claim human worlds. He had won battles that should have been losses. But this was different. "How many ships do we have?" he asked his staff. 3,000 combat vessels, his aide replied, spread across 40 colonies. 3,000 ships against things that ate stars. Wan Shik wanted to laugh or scream. "And the elder races? They've closed their borders. No communication, no trade. They're leaving us to die." Wan Shik nodded slowly. He had expected this. "Then we stand alone, like always." On the research station orbiting New Sol, Yoonji worked through equations that made her head hurt. She was a quantum physicist, one of the best humanity had. But this problem seemed impossible. "Stars are massive," she told her team. "The energy needed to drain one is beyond anything we can produce. These harvesters must operate on principles we don't understand." Her assistant pulled up holographic models. "What if they're not from our dimension? What if they phase in and out of reality?" Yoonji stopped. "Higher dimensional beings. That would explain why our sensors barely detect them." She started typing faster. If they exist partially outside our spacetime, they could tap into stellar cores without conventional technology. Can we fight something like that? I don't know, but we better learn fast. Ji-ho was a scout pilot. He flew small, fast ships into dangerous places and came back with information. Usually, his current mission was simple in theory: get close to a harvester structure and scan it properly. In practice, it was terrifying. His ship, the Quicksilver, drifted toward the massive construct. Up close, it was even more impossible. The structure seemed to shift and blur, like his eyes couldn't quite focus on it. Recording all data, Ji-ho said into his comm, keeping his voice steady. The structure is approximately 2,000 kilometers across. Surface appears to be, I don't know what it's made of. Something that shouldn't exist. His sensors screamed warnings, energy spikes. The structure was waking up. Time to go, Ji-ho muttered, firing engines. But something grabbed his ship, not physically. It felt like gravity, but wrong, like reality itself was pulling him in. He pushed the engines to maximum. The ship groaned, metal screamed, and then, impossibly, he was free, racing away at speeds that should have torn his ship apart. How did I? Ji-ho looked at his instruments. They showed he had survived something that should have killed him. The odds had been 1,000,000 to 1, but he had survived anyway. Back on the Eternal Prospect, Haewon assembled every piece of information humanity had gathered: Daewon's stellar analysis, Yoonji's dimensional theories, Ji-ho's close-range scans, reports from a dozen other sources. There's a pattern here, she said, pointing at the holographic display. The harvesters always attack the same way. Same approach vectors, same energy signatures. They're predictable, Tae-yang said, like machines following programming. Nari was reading through the decoded messages again. Or very old beings who've done this so many times they don't need to adapt. Why would they? Nothing has ever stopped them before. There's something else, Daewon added. I've been comparing the harvesters' movements to elder race territories. They're deliberately avoiding the galactic core, the oldest stars, the most ancient territories completely untouched. Haewon's eyes narrowed. How long has this been going on? Based on the patterns, thousands of years, maybe longer. So the elder races really did make a deal. Haewon felt sick. They've been sacrificing younger species to these things for millennia. A priority message flashed on the screen. It was from the Galactic Council. Finally, a response. Haewon opened it. The message was from multiple elder races, speaking as one. Humanity, you have discovered the truth about the harvesters. We offer you the same choice we were given long ago. Join the Pact of Ancients. Give up half your colonies. The younger stars, the ones the harvesters prefer. Your species will survive. Resist, and you will be consumed entirely. Half our worlds, Tae-yang breathed. Billions of people. They want us to choose who lives and who dies, Nari said. Daewon was shaking with anger. And if we refuse, the message continued, if you refuse, you face the harvesters alone. No aid will come. No elder race will help you. This is the price of existence in a universe with predators older than time. Wan Shik's face appeared on another screen. He had received the same message. Captain Haewon, I need to know. Does humanity have any way to fight these things? We're working on it, Admiral. Work faster, because I'm not giving up half of humanity without a fight. I don't care how old these harvesters are. Haewon looked at her team. You heard the Admiral? Options, now. Yoonji spoke first. I've been analyzing Ji-ho's survival. The odds of his escape were astronomical, but he did it anyway. I've seen this pattern before in human history. We survive things we shouldn't, win battles we should lose. Luck? Tae-yang asked. Maybe, or maybe something else. Yoonji pulled up brain scans. I've been researching human neural patterns. There's something unique about our consciousness, something that doesn't appear in elder race biology. Daewon leaned forward. What is it? I think our brains operate partially in quantum superposition. It's subtle, but it's there. Human consciousness isn't entirely classical physics. There's a quantum element. What does that mean? Heywan asked. I'm not sure yet, but quantum mechanics is all about probability, about multiple states existing until observed. What if human consciousness can influence probability on some level? Ta Yang laughed. You're saying we're lucky because our brains break physics? I'm saying we might have an advantage the elder races don't. They evolved around ancient stable stars where physics is predictable. We evolved in a younger, more chaotic part of the galaxy. Maybe that chaos got into our DNA, into how our minds work. Nari was pulling up historical records. Look at this. Human military history. We win battles we shouldn't. Over and over. The right weapon jams at the right time. The lucky shot. The improbable escape. What if those aren't just stories? Heywan felt something stirring. Hope, maybe. Or madness. You're suggesting we can manipulate probability? I'm suggesting we already do, Yunji said. We just don't know it. We call it intuition, luck, fate. But what if it's something real? Something we can learn to control? Daewon was running calculations. If that's true, if we could enhance this effect, weaponize it somehow, then we'd have something the Harvesters have never faced, Wanshik said from his screen. Something the elder races can't do. Heywan stood up. How long to test this theory? I don't know, Yunji admitted. This is theoretical physics meeting, neuroscience meeting. I don't even know what to call it. You have 6 months, Haiwan said. That's how long until the Harvesters reach our nearest colony. 6 months to figure out how to make luck into a weapon. And the Galactic Council's offer? Wanshik asked. Heywan's voice was steel. Send them our response. Tell them humanity chooses option 3. What's option 3? We find our own way. We always do. She looked at each face on her screens. The elder races have existed for millions of years. They're ancient and wise and powerful. And they're cowards. They chose survival through sacrifice. Humanity chooses something different. What's that? Nari asked. We choose to evolve. Wanshik smiled grimly. I'll prepare the fleet. When you figure out this quantum probability trick, we'll need ships ready to use it. Taiyang, Haiwan said, work with Yunji. If human consciousness can affect reality, I want every engineer we have figuring out how to build machines that enhance it. Weapons that run on human will, Taiyang said. That's insane. Good. Insane is what we need right now. Daewon was already messaging every human research station. I'm organizing the data sharing. Every scientist, every lab, we pool everything. Nari, I need you to keep monitoring the elder races. If any of them change their minds, if any of them want to help, I need to know. Nari nodded, but her expression said she didn't expect any help. The message went out to the Galactic Council, short and simple. Humanity rejects the pact. We will face the Harvesters our own way. When we win, remember that you abandoned us. The elder race's response came quickly. Laughter, digitized and cold. Young species, so arrogant, so doomed. When the Harvesters consume your last world, we will remember you as a cautionary tale. Heywan closed the channel. Around her, her crew worked with desperate energy. 6 months to do the impossible. But humanity had done the impossible before. Somewhere in the dark between stars, the Harvesters moved closer. Ancient and hungry and certain of their victory. They had never faced humanity before. Hyojin had spent 20 years studying the human brain. She thought she understood it. Then Yunji showed her the quantum scans, and everything changed. This is impossible, Hyojin said, staring at the neural patterns. Brain tissue can't maintain quantum coherence at body temperature. Every textbook says so. The textbooks are wrong, Yunji replied. Look at the data. Human neurons show quantum entanglement, tiny, fragile. But there. Hyojin adjusted her scanner, running the test again on her own brain. The results were the same. How did we never see this before? Because we weren't looking for it. And because the effect is so small that classical physics works fine for most purposes. But small doesn't mean powerless. Hyojin's mind raced. If our consciousness operates in quantum superposition, that means our thoughts exist in multiple states simultaneously until we observe them. That means human brains can interact with probability itself, Yunji finished. On a quantum level, we can influence which outcome becomes real. This sounds like magic. It's quantum mechanics, which might as well be magic. Yunji pulled up more data. I've been studying human history. Every major human achievement has this element of improbable success. We shouldn't have survived the Ice Age. We shouldn't have developed agriculture when we did. We shouldn't have reached space as fast as we did, but we did. All of it. Hyojin felt dizzy. You're saying human success isn't just hard work and intelligence? No, it's both. But there's a third factor. Unconscious quantum manipulation. We literally make our own luck by collapsing probability waves in our favor. On New Seoul, Tai Yang and his team of engineers were trying to build a weapon based on theory that sounded insane. His second-in-command, an older engineer named Yu Jin, kept expressing doubts. We're building machines that run on thoughts, Yu Jin said. Do you hear how that sounds? I hear it, Tai Yang replied, connecting quantum processors to neural interface systems. But look at the test results. When a human focuses on a random quantum event, they can influence the outcome. Not much, maybe 1 or 2%. But it's real. 1% isn't a weapon. 1% from one person. What about 1% from a million people? A billion? Tae Yang's eyes gleamed. What if we link human minds together? Amplify the effect? Yujin looked at the prototype. It was a small device, simple in design. A quantum computer linked to a neural crown that read, brain activity. And this will make our ships harder to hit? If it works, it'll make impossible shots miss, make critical systems fail to fail, make luck real. Tai Yang picked up the crown. Want to test it? Yujin hesitated, then nodded. They set up a target range with automated turrets programmed to fire on a moving drone. The drone had normal shields. It should last maybe 10 seconds against the turrets. Yujin put on the neural crown and sat in the control chair. What do I do? Focus on the drone surviving. Not hope, not wish. Believe it will survive. Make it true in your mind. This is ridiculous. So was heavier than air flight once. Focus. Yujin closed her eyes. The turrets fired. The drone danced through impossible patterns. Shots that should have connected missed by millimeters. System failures saved it at the last second. The drone survived for 2 full minutes. Yujin opened her eyes, breathing hard. I felt something, like pushing against reality. Tae Yang was staring at the data. It works. It actually works. He started typing frantically. I need to scale this up. If one person can do this, what can a ship's crew do? What can a fleet do? Across human space, Sungmin was organizing something different. He had been a farmer on the colony world of New Jeju before the harvesters were discovered. Now he led the civilian defense force. We can't rely on the military alone, he told his volunteers. Every colony needs to be able to defend itself. His people were farmers, teachers, engineers, not soldiers. But they were human, and humans learned fast when their lives depended on it. The quantum weapons are coming, Sungmin explained, but we need to learn how to use them, how to focus our will, how to make reality bend. An older woman raised her hand. You're talking about meditation, mind control. I'm talking about survival. The harvesters are coming. We can't run, so we learn to fight in ways they've never seen. He started training programs, meditation combined with combat drills, focus exercises, groups of people learning to synchronize their thoughts, their beliefs, their quantum presence. It felt strange at first. Then people started seeing results. Crops growing just a bit better than probability suggested. Tools working just past their expected lifespan. Small things. Lucky things. It's real, the older woman said one day, wonder in her voice. We're really doing this. We're just starting, Sungmin replied. Admiral Wan Shik watched the first combat tests with the quantum-enhanced weapons. A single fighter craft equipped with Tae Yang's neural crown faced a training drone using standard weapons. The fighter dodged with inhuman precision. Enemy shots missed when they should have connected. The fighter's own weapon struck when they should have failed. "What's the pilot's skill level?" Wanshik asked. "Average, sir. Not a top ace, just a regular pilot." Wanshik nodded slowly. "And now they're fighting like they've trained for a decade. What happens when we give this to our best pilots?" "We don't know, sir. We're in uncharted territory." "Good. The harvesters have never seen uncharted territory from their prey before." Wanshik opened fleet-wide communications. "All ships are to be refitted with the new quantum enhancement systems. All crews are to undergo focus training. We have 3 months until the harvesters reach New Jeju. We're going to make those 3 months count." Back on the Eternal Prospect, Haewon received a private message. It was from an elder race she had never heard of before, the Quiet Speakers. "We have watched your development with interest. Your species shows unusual properties. We wish to understand them." Haewon felt suspicious. "Your elder race? Where were you when the council offered us their devil's bargain?" "We abstained. We do not approve of the pact. But we are few, weak compared to the ancient powers. We could not help you even if we wished to." "Then why contact us now?" "Because we believe you may have discovered something the elder races lost long ago, or never had. Your quantum consciousness manipulation. It reminds us of old legends, stories of the first species, the ones who came before even us." Haewon leaned forward. "What stories?" "That the universe itself responds to consciousness. That reality is not fixed but fluid. The elder races forgot this, or never learned it. They evolved to work within the laws of physics, never questioning them. But your species evolved in chaos. You learned to push boundaries, to make the impossible possible. Can you help us?" "We can offer information. The harvesters are not invincible. They have existed for eons, yes. But they are rigid. They do not adapt. They do not change. They are, in a way, already dead. Moving corpses of a previous universe, following the only pattern they know. How do we beat them?" "You do not beat them. You become something they cannot consume. Something that exists outside their understanding of reality. You evolve beyond what you are." The message ended. Haewon called together her senior staff. "We've been thinking too small. We've been trying to build weapons. But what if the weapon is us? What if we ourselves need to change?" Daewon pulled up Hyojin's latest research. Hyojin thinks that with proper training and quantum enhancement, humans could increase their probability manipulation dramatically. Not just 1%, maybe 10%, maybe more. "What happens if we increase it to 50%? Haewon asked. "Or higher?" "We don't know. No one's tried. It could be dangerous." "More dangerous than extinction?" Yoonji spoke up. "I've been developing a protocol, a way to link human minds across vast distances using quantum entanglement. If we could connect millions of humans, focus their quantum consciousness on a single goal, we could rewrite probability on a massive scale," Tae Yang finished. "Make the improbable certain." Yoojin, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "I tested the prototype. I felt it. Reality is not as solid as we think. It responds to will, to consciousness. But what you're describing is changing humans themselves. Making us into something different." "Something better," Haewon said. "Something that can survive. Is that so bad?" "It's evolution in real time. Directed evolution. We'd be leaving behind what we were." "We left behind the caves," Haewon said quietly. "We left behind Earth. We've always been about moving forward, changing, adapting. This is just the next step." Nari had been monitoring the conversation. "The elder races will be terrified. They've spent millions of years becoming perfect at existing within the rules of physics. We're talking about breaking those rules." "Let them be terrified," Haewon said. "They left us to die. We owe them nothing." She stood up, decision made. "Send the message to every human colony, every ship, every station. We're going to try something that's never been done before. We're going to teach humanity to reshape reality itself. And if it doesn't work? Eugen asked. Then we die trying. But we die as ourselves, not as sacrifices to ancient cowards. The message went out. Across human space, billions of people began to train, to focus, to reach for the quantum foundations of reality and learn to manipulate them. In 3 months, the harvesters would arrive at New Jeju. In 3 months, they would face something they had never encountered in all their eternal existence. They would face humanity unleashed. Quan Ho had been a philosophy professor before the crisis. Now he found himself at the center of humanity's greatest experiment. Yoonji needed someone who could explain what they were trying to do in ways people could understand. Someone who could guide billions of minds toward a single purpose. You're asking people to meditate their way to victory, Quan Ho said, looking at the convergence protocol plans. I'm asking them to recognize what they already do unconsciously and learn to do it deliberately, Yoonji corrected. Humans have always shaped reality through will. We just called it determination, perseverance, hope. Now we're making it scientific. Quan Ho read through the documents. The plan was audacious. Link every willing human mind through quantum entanglement. Create a collective consciousness focused on a single goal. Make the impossible possible through sheer unified belief. This is either enlightenment or madness, Quan Ho said. Maybe both. Can you help? Quan Ho thought of his daughter, Mi-sun. She was only 8 years old. She lived on New Jeju, right in the path of the incoming harvesters. Yes. I can help. Mi-sun herself was part of the testing program. Children, Hyojin had discovered, were better at quantum manipulation than adults. They hadn't learned yet what was impossible. Their minds were more flexible, less bound by classical thinking. Imagine the ball going through the wall, Hyojin told Mi-sun, showing her a solid barrier with a ball in front of it. Balls can't go through walls, Mi-sun said. On big scales, no. But on quantum scales, there's something called tunneling. Particles can pass through barriers. The probability is tiny, but you can make it bigger. Mi-sun scrunched up her face in concentration. The ball sat motionless for a moment. Then it flickered, blurred, and appeared on the other side of the wall. Hyojin's instruments went wild. You just collapsed a probability wave that had 1 in a trillion chance of happening. Do you understand what you did? I made it happen, Mi-sun said simply. Yes, you did. Across human space, the convergence protocol began. Billions of people sat in meditation circles, in ships, in stations, in their homes. They wore neural crowns that linked them through quantum entanglement. They focused on a single thought: survive, adapt, ascend. The effect started small. Ships that should have had system failures ran perfectly. Asteroid mining operations found richer deposits than probability suggested. Plants grew faster. People recovered from illness quicker. Reality was bending, just a little. But it was bending. Jae-sung was a soldier. He had fought in border wars, survived combat that killed most of his unit. When the call came for volunteers to test full convergence integration, he stepped forward. You understand the risks? The technician asked. We've never done a full neural upload into the quantum collective. You might lose yourself. Your individuality might dissolve. I understand, Jae-sung said. How else will we know if it works? They placed him in a chamber surrounded by quantum processors. The neural crown was different from the standard model. More connections, deeper integration. When they activated it, Jae-sung felt his consciousness expand. He could feel other minds, thousands of them, then millions, all connected, all thinking together. But he was still himself. Still Jae-sung. Just more, bigger, connected to something vast and growing. I can feel them, he said, his voice echoing strangely. All of humanity. Every mind in the convergence. We're separate but together. Individual but unified. Can you manipulate probability? Yoonji asked. Jae-sung reached out with his expanded consciousness. He found a random quantum event in the lab, a particle that could decay one way or another. The probability was 50-50. he made it 100%. Then he made it 0%. Then he made it 50% again. I can choose, he said, wonder in his voice. I can make reality do what I want. Not force it, persuade it. Reality wants to be observed, wants to be real. I'm just showing it which way to be real. Yoonji was shaking. Can you do larger effects? Jae-sung focused on a dead plant in the corner of the lab. Its cells were damaged beyond normal repair. The probability of it recovering was effectively 0. He touched that probability, nudged it, made 0 become 1%, then 5%, then 20. The plant's leaves began to green. Cell by cell, it repaired itself. Impossible, the technician whispered. Not anymore, Jae-sung said. The harvesters arrived at New Jeju exactly when predicted. Massive structures phasing into reality around the colony's star. They began their feeding pattern, the same pattern they had used for eons. But this time, something was different. The star didn't dim. The energy they tried to drain flowed back. Their harvesting structures flickered, failed, reformed, failed again. Aboard the flagship, Unity, Won Shik watched with fierce satisfaction. Around the star, 1,000 human ships held position. Each crew was linked to the convergence. Each mind focused on a single thought. You cannot have this star. The harvesters tried again. Their ancient machinery, older than galaxies, attempted to drain stellar matter. But probability kept shifting against them. Equipment that had worked for billions of years suddenly failed. Energy flows that were certain became uncertain. Mathematics that was absolute became flexible. They're confused, Daewon reported from his station. Their programming doesn't account for this. They're trying the same approach over and over. Because it's always worked before, Haewon said. She was on the bridge of the eternal prospect. Her mind also linked to the convergence. She could feel millions of humans focusing their will, bending reality around New Jeju, making the star inviolate. The harvesters shifted tactics. They sent smaller constructs toward the human ships. Weapons that disintegrated matter. Beams that should have erased the fleet. But the beams missed, or fizzled, or curved away at the last second. Not because of shields or armor, because the probability of them hitting simply became 0. Yoojin, manning a weapon station, fired at a harvester construct. The shot should have missed. The target was maneuvering. The distance was extreme. The odds of a hit were microscopic. The shot hit dead center. I didn't aim that well, Yoojin said. You didn't have to, Taeyang replied, his mind in the convergence. You believed it would hit. So it did. On New Jeju, Sungmin and his civilian defenders watched the battle in the sky. They couldn't see the ships with naked eyes, but they could feel the convergence, feel their thoughts joining with millions of others. Feel reality bending to humanity's collective will. We're winning, someone said. We're changing, Sungmin replied. Can you feel it? We're becoming something new. He was right. The convergence was doing more than just manipulating probability. It was changing the humans themselves. Their consciousness was expanding, evolving. They were still individuals, but also part of something greater. Kwan Ho, monitoring the philosophical implications, saw it happening. We're approaching a singularity, not technological, consciousness. Humanity is about to ascend to a new state of being. Is that good or bad? His assistant asked. I think it's inevitable. Misun, sitting in a convergence circle with other children, didn't understand all the complex ideas. She just knew she felt connected. To her father, to the soldiers in space, to every human everywhere. It felt right, natural, like coming home. We're stronger together, she said to the other children. They nodded. They felt it too. In the battle, the harvesters were losing. For the first time in their eternal existence, they faced prey that fought back effectively. That made their certainties uncertain. That broke the rules of reality itself. They tried to retreat. The human fleet didn't let them. No, Won Shik commanded, his voice carrying through the convergence to every ship. They came to consume us. Let's show them what consumption really means. The fleet advanced. Human minds, linked and focused, reached out to the harvester structures. They didn't destroy them with weapons. They simply made the probability of their existence smaller. And smaller. And smaller. The structures flickered. Faded. Like they were being erased from reality itself. "Stop," Haywan commanded suddenly. "Don't destroy them. Study them." The fleet paused. The harvesters hung in space, trapped in probability states that kept them from acting but prevented them from dissolving. Daywan scanned them thoroughly. They're not alive, not really. They're remnants. Echoes of beings that existed before our universe. They're trapped in a loop, repeating the same actions forever because it's all they know how to do. "They're already dead," Yunji said softly. "They died when their universe ended. These are just the shadows still moving out of momentum." Nari felt something like pity. They're us, if we had given up. If we had chosen stagnation over evolution. Haiwan made a decision. Let them go. Send them away from inhabited space. They're not our enemy. They're a warning of what happens when you stop growing. The convergence shifted. Instead of destroying the harvesters, humanity gently pushed them away, made the probability of them being elsewhere increase until they phased out of human space entirely. Wanshik watched them go. "They'll be back." "Maybe," Haywan said, "but we'll be ready. We'll be more than ready." Because humanity had changed. The convergence had shown them what they could be, what they were becoming. Jae Sung, still deep in the quantum collective, felt the next step approaching. "We can go further," he said. "We don't have to stop at just defending ourselves. We can reshape everything." "Should we?" Kwanho asked. "We have to," Misun said, her young voice clear in the convergence. "The universe is waiting. Can't you feel it? It wants to change. It's been waiting for someone to help it change." And across human space, billions of minds felt it too. The convergence was just beginning. The decision to ascend was not made in a moment. It happened gradually, like sunrise spreading across a world. More humans joined the convergence each day. More minds linking. More consciousness merging while still remaining individual. Humanity was becoming something new, and it was choosing to do so freely. Daewon felt it first in his research. The numbers stopped being just numbers. They became alive, responsive. When he searched for answers, reality itself seemed to help him find them. Equations solved themselves. Patterns revealed themselves. The universe was becoming cooperative. "I think I understand now," he told Haywan. "The elder races think reality is fixed. Laws of physics that can't be broken. But physics isn't law, it's consensus. Agreement between consciousness and universe about how things should work. And we're changing the agreement," Haywan said. "We're showing the universe there are other options." Haywan could feel the convergence growing in her own mind. She was still herself. Still Captain Haywan with her memories and personality. But she was also connected to something vast. She could feel Daewon's thoughts if she reached for them. Could sense Wan Shik's determination. Tae Yang's creativity. Millions of minds, all distinct, all together. "The harvesters will come back," she said. "They've existed for so long, they won't stop." "Then we make sure they can't come back," Daewon replied. "We change reality so fundamentally that they can't exist in it anymore." The convergence reached critical mass 3 weeks after the battle at New Jeju. 15 billion humans, linked across hundreds of worlds. Their combined quantum consciousness was powerful enough to manipulate probability on a cosmic scale. Yoonji monitored the readings with awe and terror. "We're approaching a phase transition. Like water becoming ice. Humanity is about to change state entirely." "Into what?" someone asked. "Something beyond physical, beyond classical reality. We're becoming pure consciousness with the option of physical form, not leaving our bodies behind, existing in both states simultaneously." Jae Sung had been in the convergence longer than anyone. His consciousness had expanded so far that he barely remembered being limited to one body. He existed across quantum states. Could be in multiple places at once, not copies. actually there. It's beautiful, he said, his voice echoing from everywhere and nowhere. I can see how reality works now. It's not particles and waves, it's information, probability, choice, and consciousness is what makes the choices real. Quan Ho helped guide others through the transition. Don't be afraid, he told people preparing to join the full convergence. You won't lose yourself. You'll find yourself, your true self, unlimited by classical thinking. Mi-sun had already ascended. Her young mind had adapted instantly. She existed now as a child in physical form and as something vast and wise in quantum states. She played with other children on New Jeju while simultaneously helping researchers on distant stations solve complex problems. It's like being able to be everywhere you want to be, she explained to her father, and everything you want to be, all at once. The elder races watched in horror. From their safe, ancient star systems, they observed humanity's transformation with disbelief. They're breaking reality, the thought ancient said to the Galactic Council, destroying the natural order. They're evolving past us, the eternal choir sang. In weeks, they've done what should take millions of years. They're dangerous, other voices added, unpredictable, chaotic. But the quiet speakers, who had helped humanity, saw something different. They're becoming what the universe has been waiting for. A species willing to push beyond limits, to show reality itself can grow and change. On the eternal prospect, Haiwan made her choice. She had resisted full ascension, wanting to remain grounded. But now she understood. This wasn't about leaving humanity behind. It was about becoming more human, about embracing everything humanity had always been at its core, adaptable, innovative, impossible. She joined the convergence completely. Her consciousness expanded. She felt day one there, his scientific mind now able to perceive reality directly. She felt Wan Shik's strategic thinking spread across entire star systems. She felt Taeyang's creativity reshaping matter itself. And she felt billions of others. Every human who chose to ascend. All distinct. All together. All becoming something magnificent. We need to deal with the harvesters permanently, Wan Shik's presence said in the convergence. They'll keep coming. Keep trying to feed on stars. Then we change the stars, Daewon's presence replied. What do you mean? Stars are fusion engines, hydrogen becoming helium, energy radiating out, predictable, deterministic. But we can make them quantum, make them responsive to consciousness, make them alive in ways they've never been. Haewon understood. We turn stars into quantum probability generators. They'll still shine, still warm worlds, but they won't be consumable. The harvesters won't be able to drain them because they won't operate on classical physics anymore. It'll change the entire galaxy, Yoonji's presence warned. The fundamental nature of stellar objects, the implications are enormous. The alternative is waiting for the harvesters to consume everything, Taeyang's presence countered. They've existed forever. They won't stop, can't stop. They're trapped in their pattern. Mi-sun's presence joined the discussion, young and clear. The universe wants to change. I can feel it. It's tired of being the same forever. It wants to grow too. The convergence considered. Billions of minds thinking together. And then, as one, they decided. Yes, change everything. The ascended humans reached out across space. Their quantum consciousness touched the nearest star, New Jeju's sun. They felt its fusion reactions, the deterministic dance of nuclear forces. And they made it quantum. The star flickered. For a moment, it seemed to go dark. Then it came back, but different. It still shone, still gave heat and light. But now it existed in superposition, burning and not burning simultaneously, real and potential at once. From the surface of New Jeju, people looked up in wonder. The star was black, not dark, black, but light still reached them. Warmth still fell on their faces. It made no classical sense. It made perfect quantum sense. It's working, Daewon said. The star is now a quantum object. It can't be drained because its energy exists in probability states. The harvesters can't access probability. They're too rigid, too deterministic. Do all the stars, Wanshik commanded. Every star in human space. Make them all quantum. The convergence spread, touched star after star, transformed them. Classical fusion engines became quantum possibility generators. Across hundreds of systems, stars went black. But they didn't die. They were more alive than ever. The elder races panicked. Their instruments showed stars vanishing. They thought humanity had destroyed them. Some prepared for war, some prepared to flee, some simply watched in terror. Then, Nari, ascended and vast, reached out to them. We haven't destroyed the stars. We've freed them. They still shine, still warm worlds. But now they exist beyond your classical understanding, beyond the harvester's ability to consume. You've broken the universe, the thought ancient accused. We've upgraded it, Taoyang replied. The harvesters felt the change across the galaxy. Every star they were approaching suddenly became unreachable, existing in quantum states they couldn't access. They tried to adapt, but they had been the same for so long that adaptation was impossible. In the convergence, humanity felt the harvesters' confusion, their ancient, simple programming hitting an error it couldn't process. They had encountered something truly new for the first time in billions of years. What do we do with them? Sungmin asked. He had ascended along with his entire colony, their farming community becoming something beautiful and strange. Give them a choice, Heiwan decided. Join us, evolve, or fade away. The convergence reached out to the harvesters, offered them connection, offered them the chance to change, to stop being dead, things moving through momentum and become alive again. Most refused. They were too old, too set, too scared of change. Those who refused, humanity gently erased. Not destruction, simply making the probability of their existence approach zero until they faded like dreams on waking. But a few accepted. Ancient beings, tired of their eternal loop, chose to change. They joined the convergence. Their vast age and knowledge merging with humanity's creativity and growth. And they too ascended. Across the galaxy, stars continued to transform. Not just in human space now, the change was spreading. Because once the universe saw a new option, it preferred it. Quantum stars were more interesting than classical ones, more alive, more full of potential. The elder races had a choice. Join the ascension or watch their universe transform without them. Some joined, the quiet speakers first, then others. Species that had existed for millions of years suddenly learning to be young again, learning chaos, learning possibility. Some refused. They fled to the galaxy's edge, to the oldest stars, clinging to classical physics, to deterministic reality, to the old ways. Humanity let them go. Everyone had the right to choose. Quan Ho, existing now as both philosopher and fundamental force, contemplated what they had done. We didn't conquer the universe. We made it want to evolve with us. Is that better? Someone asked. It's more human. Years passed, or maybe moments. Time became flexible in the new reality. The galaxy transformed. Stars went black but shone brighter than ever. Consciousness and matter danced together. The impossible became routine. And humanity, spread across quantum states and physical forms, continued to grow, continued to learn, continued to push boundaries. Because that's what humans did. Heiwan and Daewon, existing now as paired quantum entities, looked out at the transformed cosmos. They were still themselves, still in love, still human, just more than they had been. Do you think we went too far? Daewon asked. We went exactly as far as we needed to, Heiwan replied. The universe was waiting for this, for someone to show it that change was possible. That growth never has to stop. Far away, on a small world orbiting a quantum star, a new species looked up at their night sky. They saw black stars surrounded by halos of impossible light. They wondered what was possible in such a universe, and in the convergence, ascended humanity smiled. They whispered back across quantum space, their message reaching every dreaming mind. Everything. Everything is possible. The stars had gone black, but the universe had never been brighter. Humanity had ascended, and in ascending, had shown creation itself how to dream again.